Hello everyone, welcome again to my channel. Thanks for the click. I hope you are doing well. In this episode, we are going to start a new function lesson, which is concession, expressing concession, okay? All right, so first of all, the first thing that you have to know is that when we say concession, we mean contrast, okay? We mean something like contrast, okay? So remember, we say concession or contrast, okay? All right, contrast, or we can also say something which is normal, okay? When something is normal. All right, now to make this easy for you, look at this picture. So when you look at this picture, the first glance at this picture, you notice that there is something which is abnormal going on. There is contrast, okay? There is contrast. It's raining and the boys playing soccer. So there is contrast, there is something abnormal going on, okay? So in this episode, we are going to see some expressions, some words, some structures that we can use to express such situations when there is contrast, when there is something abnormal going on, okay? All right, so in this episode, we are going to take two words, two expressions that we can use for such situations, okay? These words are despite and in spite of. And here again, we have despite and in spite of. So very simply, the only difference between this pattern and this pattern is that here we have despite and in spite of in the beginning of the sentence, but here we have them in the middle of the sentence. So here they are in the beginning, but here they are in the middle of the sentence. Okay, the only difference is that when we use despite and in spite of in the beginning, we use comma, but here we don't use any punctuation marks. Okay, so this is very important. This is very important for writing, okay, for writing. All right, so in both patterns we have two actions. We have action number one and we have action number two, again 1 and 2. All right, so if you look at this picture again, we have two actions. We have the rain, it's raining, and we have boys playing soccer, okay, playing soccer. So two actions, 1, 2, okay, 1 and 2 actions, okay? All right, now another thing that you have to keep in mind as far as these two patterns is that these expressions or words are always followed by a noun or ing form. And when I say ing form, the ing form is always related to the verb, all right? The same thing here, they are followed by, as I said, the noun or the ing form, okay? The ing form of the verb. As I told you before, if you have problem, if you find problem finding the noun or making the ing form, you can easily use the fact that. So instead of the noun, for example, or the ing form, you can use the fact that plus subject, okay? All right, so this is part number one. Part number two, the other part is very simply SVO, or you can say a sentence, okay? The SVO or sentence, again, this one SVO or sentence, okay? All right, these are the two patterns that we can use to express contrast, okay? Despite, in spite of, despite, in spite of, okay? All right, now let's try to do an exercise in which we apply these patterns or these structures or these expressions, okay? All right, here we have 3 sentences. So what we are going to do, we are going to link them using these expressions, okay? All right, now you can pause, try to rewrite them using these structures or these patterns, and then we do it together, okay? So here we have, as I said, two actions. We have action number 1 and action number 2. We have Mike is a good driver. He made a lot of accidents. So here, as you can see, there is kind of contrast. There is something which is abnormal between these two actions. Okay, Mike is a good driver. He is a good driver, as you can see. He made a lot of accidents. So there is something which is abnormal, questionable here in these two sentences, okay? So somebody who is good driver, somebody who is a good driver makes accident? For sure, no, okay? No, but in this case, he is a good driver. he made a lot of accidents. So there is something abnormal. Number 2, she is intelligent, she failed in the exam. Again, here we have contrast, we have something which is abnormal. She is what? She is intelligent, she is smart, she is clever, she failed in the exam. She failed in the exam. Again, there is something which is abnormal here between these two sentences, these two actions. Normally, she is intelligent, she succeeds in the exam, okay? All right. Number 3, he tells the truth, nobody believes him. He tells the truth, here we have, he tells the truth, and nobody believes him. So again, there is something which is abnormal between these two sentences. There is a contrast. He tells the truth, nobody believes him. Okay, normally he tells the truth, everybody believes him. Okay, everybody believes him, but here we have contrast, nobody believes him. Okay, all right, now what are we going to do? We are going to link these sentences, we are going to rewrite them using these patterns. These are expressions of contrast, of concession. Okay, all right, now what can we say for number 1? Let's use, for example, despite. Okay, so we can say despite. So we said that the following is supposed to be either noun or ing of the verb. Okay, now here we have is, and is the verb be, so we can make the ing form of this. So we can say despite being, so despite being what? Being a good driver, despite being a good driver. Now here we have comma, he made a lot of accidents. Despite being a good driver, he made a lot of accidents. So as I said, if you don't know how to make the ing form or the noun, you can use the fact that plus the SVO. Despite the fact that Mike is a good driver, he made a lot of accidents. Or we can say, despite being a good driver, he or Mike made a lot of accidents. Okay, so either this, the noun or ing, or the fact that plus the sentence. Okay, so instead of despite, we can use in spite of. In spite of being a good driver, he made a lot of accidents. In spite of the fact that he is a good driver, he made a lot of accidents. Number 2, she failed in the exam in spite of being intelligent, the ing form. Here we have the ing form, and here we have the noun, okay? The noun, all right. Also, we can use the facts that plus sentence. For example, in spite of the facts that she is intelligent. So this is in case, as I said, if you don't know how to use this, okay? All right, let's see number 3. In spite of telling the truth, nobody believes him. Also, we can say despite telling the truth, nobody believes him. We can use it also in the middle like this. For example, we can say nobody believes him despite telling the truth, or in spite of telling the truth, or in spite of the fact that he tells the truth. So when you use the fact that, we use the SVO, okay? Despite the fact that he tells the truth. Sentence as it is. We don't change anything in the sentence, okay? All right, so this is it. So if you look at this picture, what do you see? We have a man in a garden, okay? Sleeping in a garden. So automatically, he is fatigued or he is tired. So he is tired. Number 1, he is tired. He is not at home. He did not go home. He is tired. He is sleepy. He did not go home. So there is contrast. There is something abnormal. So what can we say? We can say, for instance, think about it. So we can say, for instance, despite ing, being tired, or despite being fatigued, or in spite of being fatigued, he did not go home. He is still in the garden. Or we can say, he is still in the garden. He did not go home in spite of being fatigued. In spite of being fatigued, okay? All right, so you can practice this again and again, and I hope you find it this easy to understand. If you have any question or suggestion, don't hesitate to let me know. See you in another episode with another structure, with another pattern, with other expressions to express contrast or concession. See you then, have a good time, and goodbye.